What's going on, guys? Welcome back. It's Hal, and yeah, I'm just getting over whatever I did to myself. I just, ran myself into the ground, all that fun stuff, but I'm feeling a lot better tonight. We'll be streaming tonight, and I wanted to bring you guys the master guide on Aurora Fryevia. So, while she's, out there, those of you who have her, those of you who plan to get her, all that fun stuff. So we're going to be going over the most important parts of her kit and how to use her in some builds for you guys. So, as we move in on Aurora Fryevia, she is a hybrid damage dealer, and some of her most notable skills, we'll go over them real quick. She has a lot of chaining families, but not all of them are really worth using when it comes to damage dealing. So she's got Flash, Brilliance. This is her absolute Mirror of Equity chaining family, but it's only a 4.0 multiplier, 6.0 at the end of the day once you hit 120 on her. And it's really used to recover a little bit of MP. It costs 45 MP to use and gives you 75 MP back, so it really gives you 30 MP per cast. And you don't really want to use this for damage because the multiplier is really low. All right, now she's got Flash, Dazzle, 9 times multiplier. This is an onion slice chaining family, so it'll be 11 times multiplier. It's her second hardest hitting skill, and if you don't want to be locked to Holy Element, this is the one that you're going to be using because it's her second highest multiplier and it's not locked to Holy. So if you want to do non-elemental damage, this is when you want to aim for. If you want to use an elemental weapon for a certain fight, this is the one that you want to use. With like another Aurora Fryevia friend, or maybe someone else who can do the onion slice chaining family like Lauren, etc, etc. The Blind and Confusion, not that big part of a deal there. Flash Endless Punishment is her Aurora Ray chaining family. It's a 5.5 times multiplier, which will be brought up to 7.5 when she's at 120, and it's her middle of the road damage wise chaining family. You won't really use this that much unless you're building a team around Aurora Ray, like you're using maybe an Aurora Fryevia like with Lauren or Victor or whoever, because Aurora Ray is a really popular chaining family in the global version to get new units added to that chaining family, it seems so for. Now, her number one damage dealing skill is Flash Furious Radiance. It's a Divine Ruination chaining family. It's light hybrid damage, 12 times multiplier. This will be brought up to a 14 times multiplier at 120 due to her passive. So 14 times multiplier with 100% light and peril for 3 turns to one enemy in its Divine Ruination. This is the one that you'll be spamming left, right, and center. And then, as you have noticed, all of these skills have Flash in their name, and she gets double Flash, which allows her to dual cast Flash skills or Aurora Storm twice in one turn. And then her 2 cooldown skills are Gift of Daylight, which you can use on turn 1. It's a 6-turn cooldown. Enables triple Flash for 4 turns to the caster. This does count the turn that you'll not get, so you realistically get 3 turns of triple Flash. It gives you a 200% attack and magic buff for 3 turns as well, and takes you to 100% HP. Now, her second cooldown skill is First Light. It's a 4-turn cooldown available on turn 4. It's a 40 times hybrid multiplier to all enemies, and it's a single hit chain finisher. The thing with First Light is that unlike Aurora Fryevia, or unlike normal Fryevia, excuse me, Aurora Fryevia cannot dual cast Gift of Daylight or First Light. She can't dual cast either of her cooldown skills like normal Fryevia can. All right, so there's no like chaining and chain finishing First Light. There's no casting Gift of Daylight and doing an attack on turn 1. Those are going to both be the only skills that you can cast on those turns. So when it comes to min and maxing her in your party, if you want to be using First Light, you're going to want to have some other way to build a chain so you can chain finish First Light every once in a while starting on turn 4. That way, if you get that chain finish bonus, that 40 times multiplier is going to be 160 times multiplier because that 4 times multiplier chain finish bonus, super awesome there. So that's pod 153. That's building some chains with, your tanks or your supports or something along those lines. If you want to really get the most out of her when it comes to your team, you want to keep that as an idea of party planning when it comes to building that team around Aurora Fryevia. Now, her limit burst here is Judge and Jury. It costs 30 limit burst crystals at 7-star form. The level 1 version of it's going to be a 21.4 times multiplier. Okay, and the max level version is a 27.2 times multiplier. That's all that changes between the level 1 and the max level version. Both of the versions, whether it's 1 or 30, is going to enable triple Flash for 2 turns to the caster. And like I said before, when it comes to the wiki or any other resource out there, this means that you're going to lock at the turn you activate your limit burst, okay, and the turn afterwards. So it's really 1 turn of triple Flash. And triple Flash is super important because it lets you get that nice burst of damage out there. For Judge and Jury, You want to max it out, but it's not a high priority because it's going to be part of your rotation. You want to get that extra 6.0 multiplier in there, but you'll max it out over time. You don't really need to throw a bunch of limit burst pots in it right away. It doesn't really hamper your ability to use Aurora Fryevia as a character if you don't have the limit burst maxed out. Now, the last thing we want to talk about is Aurora Storm. And Aurora Storm is the unlocked skill that both Aurora Fryevia and normal Fryevia will have if they're in the party at the same time. So Blade of the Past is a skill that Aurora Fryevia has, and at the start of your turn, if normal Fryevia is alive in your party, she'll gain access to Aurora Storm. And then Blade of the Future is Fryevia's passive that got added to her after FanFesta, and she'll gain access to Aurora Storm if Aurora Fryevia is in your party at the start and she's alive. So Aurora Storm is a 10-hit disorder chaining family, 15 times ice and light hybrid damage multiplier to all enemies. So it's a very, very, very strong AoE damage dealing skill. And both of these characters can double and triple cast Aurora Storm. So if you want to do some insane AoE damage, look no farther than Aurora Storm. If you have access to your own Aurora Fryevia, it'll be better for you to just bring in Aurora Fryevia because she can be built for higher damage than normal Fryevia can be. But if you have access to normal Fryevia and you're looking for some more damage, take an Aurora Fryevia friend if you can and smash out the Aurora Storm. Now, if you want to do AoE damage, definitely, if you're an Aurora Fryevia owner, bring a normal Fryevia with you to unlock this AoE crazy damage dealing skill that's going to out damage your AoE hits with the Aurora Ray chaining family or anything like that. Maybe you can do Onion Slice, that's AoE as well. So there's a lot of AoE and single target damage that you can do with these versions. I was going to call them sisters, but they're the same person with these units together. So let's go into some builds here, guys, and we'll show you some unorthodox builds that actually work out on Aurora Fryevia due to her passives not really being locked to a certain weapon type like Fryevia's are, okay? All right, guys, so we're getting into some of the builds here now. Now, remember, Fryevia is a hybrid damage dealing unit, okay? So the builds that you're going to be able to make and what you want to achieve are going to be based on not only what fight you're going into based on the enemy's defense and spirit, but also what sort of gear you have. These builds are just to showcase how the damage formula works and how you can min-max the damage you get out of your own units, especially Aurora Fryevia and Fryevia, based on the gear that you have. Okay, so these are all examples and something to work towards and aim for at the long run. If you want to see more builds for hybrid damage dealing units, I would tell you to go ahead and look at the Fryevia Master Guide as well, because Aurora Fryevia and Fryevia, they work on the same principles basically. And that build, or video I should say, has a lot of math in it, a little bit of math at the end, to telling you explicitly why, as to why you want to stack more of one stat. TLDR on that is the damage formula in the game is attack squared and some other stuff, and then magic squared and some other stuff. But basically, it's got increasing returns on stacking one particular stat. So for every point of attack you have on your character, the next point of attack, it gives you even more damage, and then the next point gives you more damage than before. So you want to have more and more of one stat. So you'll get a little bit of an example of that as we go through these builds here. So this is going to be the sorcery build, and all of these builds have the 200% attack and magic buff from Gift of Daybreak. I do think it is her cooldown skill that you can use right away. So this is the sorcery build, 2,837 attack, 1,531 magic. As you see, we're not trying to keep the attack and magic equal. We're trying to maximize one, and then after one of them's maximized, then we start bringing up the other one. That's going to give you the most amount of damage. So this is a sorcery build. Sorcery, Scanning Goggles, Fryevia Suit, Double Martial Glove, Subservient, United's Mission, Adventurer 5, and Dark Sword Art. So super TMRs everywhere. All of these builds have Fenrir on them too. But this is an example of how much damage you can get by maximizing one stat and then bringing the other one up. So Subservient, United's Mission, both of them are super TMRs. Dark Sword Art, super TMR there, but you can have some other things and bring them in to replace those. You have a little less attack for sure, but at the end of the day, you get the idea. So what we're going to be looking at here when we're comparing these builds is the Flash Furious Radiance damage number here in the middle of the screen. Flash Furious Radiance is her Divine Ruination skill, and this build in particular does 1,480,415 damage, guys. So that's a lot per skill. This is not chain modifiers or imperils or anything like that. This is just the damage number versus 100 defense, 100 spirit target here in the builder. Now, if we take this build, we change the sorcery out, which has 100 attack and 84 magic, right? Your traditional hybrid weapon. And you change it out and you leave everything the same. And you change it out for simply Omega weapon. The rest of the gear is the same. You can see with one small change how much more damage you can gain. So you lose a little bit of magic and you gain a lot of attack here, actually 3,141 attack. And our Flash Radiance damage number goes up to 1,660,000 damage. Okay, so we gain just about 200,000 damage per use of the skill just by increasing our attack by a little bit more. Just by changing our weapon, by gaining 70 something attack on our weapon, we gain that much more damage. So this is the importance of understanding how the damage formula works in the game when trying to min-max your character. Now, if you want to go to the next level, two-handed weapons have a damage variance on them. So if we go ahead and change the Omega weapon out to, in the future, her super teamer comes up, we have Daybreak available to us. Daybreak, Scanning Goggles, Fryevia Suit, Double Martial Glove Still, Buster Style, Subservient, Lord of the Underworld, and United's Mission. We go up to 2,079,841 damage. So this is her strongest build. In the future will be with Daybreak, and that's because we have a super high attack. And even though she's hybrid, you maximize that attack. You get a little bit of magic, but you maximize the attack, and Daybreak's a two-handed weapon. And it's got on average like a 1.35 average damage variance, which gives you on average 35% bonus damage, which is where that extra damage comes from. So that extra, 400k damage just from having a two-handed weapon on Aurora Fryevia. Now, I know all these builds are super Team R heavy, but there is a build now that you can do right now. The build that I'm using is actually this build with the Sunbreaker. Okay, your mileage may vary. You're going to use an equip bow or equip longsword. Longsword, that's the monster hunter me. Equip greatsword build, because there is no two-handed sword that exists in the game outside of her own super team art, but that's not available yet. So what we can do with this build is Sunbreaker using the equip bow, Scanning Goggles, Fryevia Suit, Double Martial Glove, Subservient, Buster Style, and Adventurer 5. So you don't need to have the Subservient for this build. It just gets you a decent amount of attack there with that 80%. You don't need to have Scanning Goggles. It'd be Precious Hairpin or whatever you have for your highest attack headpiece there. And look at this build. The rare ability for bows is plus 30% attack and magic, plus 15% attack and 12% attack there. Look at the damage for Flash Furious Radiance. 1,859,000. So it's just under her super Team R build. It beats everything else out in the game, period. And there's no super Team Rs that are actually necessary for this build. Buster Style could be Nalu's TMR. If you don't have Scanning Goggles, Nalu's TMR is actually better than Buster Style, but you don't have to have Scanning Goggles. You can use like a 45 attack headpiece there. You don't have to have Subservient. You can use something else there. So this really could become like a no super Team R necessary build, and it'll be like her second best build in the game, period. Only losing out to either Soothsayer Bow, which is Lenneth's super Team R, or Aurora Fryevia's own super Team R. This build is absolutely insane. 1,859,000 damage. And if you want to go ahead and factor in the fact that Sunbreaker does have killers, if you're fighting a dragon or a bird, the build goes absolutely through the roof and hits 2,788,000 damage, beating the absolute pants off of anything else in the game for Aurora Fryevia. So this build, hands down, my favorite build in the game for her. This is brought to you by the fact that I think Aurora Fryevia only has a single passive that gives her attack and magic based on what sort of weapon she is. I think she's got Pride of Fryevia, and it's like 30% attack and magic if you're equipped with a sword. Everything else is just whatever. It's just passive stats, just double hand, true double hand, attack and magic regardless of what weapons you have on her. So this is going to be something that I'm going to use for a long time if I'm using her. This was part of the reason why I used our FanFesta 10 unit choice tickets. I used that on and on because you can run Sunbreaker through Item World right now. So that's why I kind of wanted to get this out for you guys. I wanted to get it out the other day, but I've been real sick. In case you guys wanted to do something like this, those of you who have Aurora Fryevia or are prepping for Aurora Fryevia, because this build is so powerful and really not super hard to do if you've been playing for a long time. A couple true double hand things, don't really need a bunch of super Team Rs, and it's up there swinging big with some of the best builds in the game right now. So, and because of that 10 FanFest unit choice tickets, the hardest thing to get is the Sunbreaker because it comes from an old unit, but you can get them right now with that 10 FanFest unit of choice tickets. So I want to get this out there for you guys. If you want to see more stuff like this, go ahead, hit me up with that sub button, hit that follow, like, whatever. Comment down below if you're going to be doing this. If you want to see more stuff, let me know. I'll be streaming tonight. I'm going to go rest up a little bit more so I can get ready to hang out, and I'll see you guys in the next one.